Okay, what's up guys? I'm here to film my September wrap up, which is all the books that I read in September. I did not finish that many books, and to be quite honest, I'm feeling a little bit unsettled with life right now, so if I frown in this video, that's why. I don't know where it's coming from, but oftentimes I'm a very emotional person. Often, like, when something bad happens in my life but I don't know about it, this is gonna sound kind of woo-y, but when something bad happens in my life and I don't know about it yet, I get this always like sense of like doom, but it's not been attached to anything, but I get a sense of doom. So I'm feeling that really hardcore today. I woke up today and I was feeling very unsettled. I was feeling like something in my life had shifted without me knowing, and I still haven't pinpointed what that is. It's kind of been a result of, I guess, my general mood, not necessarily tied to work, because I started a new job and generally it's been good. I think, yeah, there was a couple of shifts that happened during the summer with my relationships and just expectations of life. So anyway, I'm getting into something much deeper, but I'm just saying, I also got 2 cats, so if you see them climbing. If you see them climbing up like this, just ignore them, just let them hang. They're 3 months old, so they don't know any better. That's my cat, Chidera. I have another cat. I adopted a pair, so yeah. That's also not what's giving me doom. But I promise you guys, I'm gonna try to like be happy for this video. But I'm just like a very emotional person though. So like, yeah, I know this seems very dramatic that I just like express that all to you guys, but like whatever. Okay, so I only finished 2 books this September because you can probably tell from the intro, my life was kind of a movie. If a movie was like low-key melancholic, but yeah, it was a movie. A lot of changes, a lot of shifts. But the first book I finished is a YA novel that a friend of mine truly actually bought for me as a law school graduation gift. And this YA novel is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. This is the book. Yeah. So this is a really heartwarming YA novel, and I'm not the biggest fan of YA, to be honest. I always say that. I'm really not the biggest fan of YA. My favorite genre is still adult contemporary fiction, usually of the women's fiction sort, but I really enjoyed this. I would call this like a rom-com YA. It has elements of romance, it has elements of comedy, but basically the main character is a dark-skinned black girl, as you can tell from the cover, so I had to get into it. The main character's name is Quinn. She's from a very like well-to-do black family. Both of her parents are Columbia grads, so you know, Ivy League parents, and they're successful. Her mom's a lawyer. I can't remember what her dad does, but he's also successful. And she owns a journal where she basically journals like all of her like life stuff in a series of lists. So she'll be like, things I need to do before I graduate, stuff I want to say to X person. So she has a bunch of like list journal entries in this notebook. During a school project though, this journal gets switched with Carter Bennett's journal. Carter Bennett is a black boy who goes to school. He's from a poorer family, so he and Quinn actually don't have that in common. So even though they're both black, they come from different class strata. So anyways, their journals get switched. Quinn starts to panic because she's like, where is my journal? Where's my journal? Carter's like, I have it. So she goes to get it from Carter, but Carter has lost it by the time that she gets to Carter. So they have to find out where the journal is. Worst comes to worst, basically an anonymous person has found the journal and is using it to blackmail Quinn. So they start posting the journal entries on Instagram and tagging everyone. And the blackmailer basically messages Quinn and says, you have to complete everything on your things to do before I graduate list, or I'm gonna keep posting lists from your journal. So there's a blackmailer in this story. There's a romance that forms between Carter and Quinn. There's discussions about different types of blackness. Quinn feels very much like she's not the typical black person because, you know, she comes from a lot of money. She drives a Mercedes to school. And according to everyone, even though it's low-key a lie, she got into Columbia. You'll see in the book, she actually forged her acceptance letter to Columbia. Carter, you know, comes to school on a bus, you know, is considered not as smart by other people and speaks in the sort of way that I guess is more stereotypical black. So Yeah, there's a lot of discussions, but it's very light. And really what you have is like a really cute YA romance in this novel. Any YA lovers, I think you'll really like this because this is very much YA at its best. Okay, the last book I read was Fault Lines by Emily Itami. This book I think is definitely going to be in my top 5 of the year. This is such a gorgeous story. And really, at the center of this story is an affair. But, you know, the way that the main character goes about having this affair is really romantic. It's really weird. So basically the main character is Mizuki, and Mizuki basically has like the perfect life on the outside. She's married to a successful, you know, businessman. She has 2 beautiful kids. She has a beautiful Tokyo apartment. And, you know, her life from the outside looks good. She's well taken care of, beautiful kids, and, you know, her husband doesn't give her that much trouble. But inside, she's struggling with this marriage, and it's to the point where she's kind of suicidal. She's really, like, desperate for a change in her life. So, you know, in Japanese culture, obviously, or at least the author seems to suggest that, you know, she's supposed to be happy, she's supposed to be fine with her life and really take pride in being a mother and a good housewife. But Mizuki is looking for something more. She ends up having an affair with a restaurant owner. Now, okay, affair, you know, is an affair like an ethical thing to do? I don't know. But in this book, you really see an exploration of what it means to be a mother, what it means to be a wife, and how those roles can end up overshadowing who a woman is at her core. I really love books that discuss that because I feel like society, and I've talked about this with other books I've reviewed on this channel, society wants women to be so proud to be a mother, so proud to be a wife, and it's like, not that those aren't amazing titles to have, if that's what you want, and that's not necessarily not what I want, but, you know, I love looking at women as humans before they were mothers, before they were sisters, before they were daughters, before they were, you know, housewives. So this book is really interesting. You get a kind of sense that the, you know, main character, Mizuki, she didn't really mean to get married. She kind of fumbled into this, you know. You get a sense that, you know, she doesn't hate her husband, but, you know, they're not a team anymore. He doesn't see her for her funny humor, her dry sense of humor, her kind of like edgy personality. There is a kind of like weighing of American values versus Japanese values because the main character did study abroad in America when she was younger, and so she almost kind of feels like she's internalized some of the American individualism, and that's maybe why she is engaging in this affair. Yeah, so those are the 2 books I've read. Didn't read that much, and I probably won't read that much this month because I just feel really stressed out all of a sudden. But currently I am reading a book that has been long listed for the National Book Award, or is it National Book Prize? I can't remember which it is, but Intimacies by Katie Kitamura. And I've been loving this book too. Again, this is the sort of contemporary fiction novel I like. The main character is an interpreter at an international court where she has to interpret for some of the most like heinous crimes. So basically people who've been accused of war crimes, genocide, that level of crime, she has to interpret them because, you know, sometimes they come from different countries or not necessarily speaking English. So it talks a lot about the intimacy of translation, the intimacy of listening to people who we may not empathize with, we may not understand. And then on top of that, the interpreter is dating a married man, and her best friend, I think, sees a crime that, yeah. So there's a lot of like intimate moments. It's very just like contemplative and gorgeous. So when I do my wrap up for October, I'll talk more about this book. But yeah, those are the books I've been reading / have read. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.